thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I'm going to keep this short. We have been following you guys for about 2 years now. We're heavily involved in all your boot camps and Cardone Capital and the 10X, and loved your fire dance at the last 10X. That was unbelievable, and so much appreciate everything that you do. And thank you for coming on to talk to us briefly.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on.
So one question I want to ask is first, how are you guys doing, and how's your family doing with all this virus stuff going on? Are you guys okay?
Oh, yeah. I mean, health-wise, we're great. We're healthy. We just got reunited again last night. Grant and Sabrina had gone to do some self-enhancement type courses. So the two of them kind of had a father-daughter the last 2 weeks. They did a confidence course. So we were separated. I had Scarlett down here in Miami, and we sort of overlooked the condo and the office space. So we're very good. It was a very good Easter to be reunited, and, we're all healthy. As far as, the impact of everything, the implications of everything, I mean, we're feeling the hit like everyone else. We're navigating rough waters. So there's been moments where, you can feel a little bit of the anxiety, but we just go right into massive action and knowing what we know and how to get through this. And so we're moving. We have a mantra in our family: no virus is going to stop us. So we're plowing ahead.
Excellent. I love that. I've seen the t-shirts too. So I got to tell you, so I read the book, right? And at first I thought that I got this from my wife, and I thought it was just for women, but I will tell you, this is not just a woman's book. This was amazing. And I have the feeling that you're the brains behind a lot of the stuff that Grant does after reading this. And I know you've said that. So I think your perspective right now is what I'm really interested in. So we work with a lot of small business owners around the country. And so this audience that's going to be listening to this are going to be small, mid-sized companies who have been impacted. And so one of the things that you talk about in the book a lot is about people or assets, is about what you went through in 2008. And when I read that, the details, I've heard you mention it, but the details really spoke to me. And I think the first question, the most important question I want to ask is, you learned a lot during that, not just the financial crisis, but lawsuits and moving and loss of business and all these things that you were going through. Can you draw any parallels of what you learned then, and how are you implementing some of those ideas or strategies now? I think you have a unique perspective because it just wasn't the financial collapse. It was lots of stuff hitting you guys.
Yeah. Gosh, there's so many component parts to that question. And thank you for the acknowledgement. But I do have to say that even though I have big visions for the way things should go and whatnot, Grant is really the genius behind how to implement stuff. And he really is the expert when it comes to all things business and how to work things out. And that really is his role. So I really don't want to take credit for that. Having said that, I have also in this time been consuming Grant's data. So I will tell you what we're doing. And it's very similar to what we did back then, which is, number one, we went in, and this is exactly what Grant said on his training. So I want to give credit where credit is due, but the first thing is acceptance. You have to accept where we are at right now. The sooner you can get into acceptance and not be in denial with the situation and not thinking, oh, this is just panic and fear-based, but actually being in acceptance and preparing for that. And Grant says you must take yourself to zero. Now, we were at near zero in 2008, and we've set ourselves up to not be at zero. However, this time around, our mindset is we have taken ourselves to zero. What does that mean? You are at a mindset where you are at zero, like as if you had no financial income coming in. What would you do, and how do you provide for your family? And so putting yourself at zero, you're going to have a different mindset about the way that you approach things. which is the very first day that I got wind of all of this, when I was briefed by someone pretty high up that I trust, that said on a phone call to me, Elena, be prepared for the government, for the entire United States to shut down for 2 weeks. The moment I got that call, and it came a week earlier than it had happened, it progressed really fast after that, is the week that I went into the survival mode of 2008, which brings me to number 3, acceptance, go to 0. Number 3 is all spending stops.
You wrote about that in the book.
Yes,
yeah, you said that.
That was the number one thing I learned from Grant when I watched Lehman collapse in 2008. And he said we were going to die, and how do we survive this? I said, what do I need to do? And he said, all spending stops. And I said, that's it? Like, I thought it was going to require, that was nothing. I'm willing to do that. So the day I caught wind of the US was going to be under a possible shutdown for 2 weeks, what you don't know is, so anything, and then I'll get back to the little story I was going to tell, anything that does not contribute to self-enhancement or isn't going to generate revenue is eliminated. So I'll tell you, I'm not one who does jewelry. Like I rarely wear my wedding ring, except if it's to the office or out. I'm not a jewelry girl. However, Grant and I have been married 15 years, and the jeweler had just recently at 10X GrowthCon put a 10-carat diamond ring on my finger, which is totally gorgeous. Grant wanted to get me this ring as kind of a 15-year anniversary gift, as just kind of a upgrade in the wedding thing. And it really excited me. And I'm not excitable about jewelry. And so this jewelry guy had loaned me the ring since GrowthCon and said, hey, wear it, get a feel for it, fall in love with it, and we can figure out the rest later. So I was like, more than happy to be sporting my 10-carat ring. The day I got this news, I did not check with Grant. I did not ask anyone what to do, whether it was going to happen or not. I called up the guy and said, I need to send the ring back immediately. Like, it was no longer an option. All spending stops that does not generate or produce income or doesn't go to self-enhancement.
Okay, can I interrupt you? Can I ask you a question? So you learned that in 2008. Is that why you immediately didn't hesitate?
Did not hesitate. I know what needs to be done during these times, which means and as the president said, we're under like war, we're under attack. I don't know how long it was going to go. Whether is it 2 weeks? Is it 4 to 6 weeks? Is it longer? What are the ramifications of something being shut down, a whole entire economy, a global economy? What are the ramifications of that? I don't know. But because my strength is that I have the ability to have a vision. I have visions, and I'm able to, let me tell you what the definition of a vision is, first of all. It is the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination and wisdom. So because I'm able to have a vision, I was able to then track down, well, where does this all go? What do I need to do? How do we prepare for this? What was successful from the last time? How do I need to implement this starting now? What was the question? Let me get back on track.
So 2008, you knew that, so you sprang into action. The second deeper part of my question is, they only said 2 weeks, Elena. Why would you go into such massive shutdown mode? They only said 2 weeks.
Right, because I have an ability to foresee what my strength is, as I was saying, is I have an ability to go into the future and then come back into present time and make my plan with imagination and wisdom. And for me, every scenario that I looked at, 2 weeks did not make sense. What if someone with coronavirus doesn't get it until day 12? And then we open it up to the public and they go out and we have the same problem. And then I was making phone calls to doctors that I know. And I said, so what would have to be the actual quarantine time to actually let everyone run the cycle of when they got it, stayed home before we opened up the gates again? And, you know, based on their expert opinion, it was 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer. So that's how I based my opinion and my analytical decisions on this thing.
Wow. Yeah, because I think we heard 2 weeks, like, oh, 2 weeks. And then it became 30 more days. And now I think businesses are wondering, is it going to be another 30 and another 30? So do you factor that worst case scenario planning into your mix?
Yeah, we're worst case scenario into our mix. You know, I don't know what the answer is to when it's going to open up, or what happens, but I have planned for every worst case scenario. And, you know, at best, I mean, we can go through tips and strategies for businesses and what they can do. But at the very least, I would recommend that everyone have a vision. And even if you don't have it figured out what you want to do for your business, who do you want to become on the other side? Do you want to have more courage, strength, health, the more power? What is power? Power is the ability or capacity to influence the behavior of others. Do you want to have more confidence? If the answer is yes to all of that, then come back here into present time again and write your plan. What do you have to do to build confidence? Do you need to discipline yourself? I'm strict discipline mode right now. I know that's how we survived the last one. There's going to be no drinking alcohol and binge watching Netflix for me. That isn't going to work for me. For me, I'm using discipline on how I can control myself so that I can trust myself even more on the other side by doing what I say I'm going to do. I'm putting myself to bed earlier. I'm waking up earlier. I have my to-do list. I have all my actions that I need to take, because at the end of all of this, I need to be stronger for when we come back as a community, for our staff, for the world, for our investors. I also want to be a leader in my space, and somebody that others can look up to for a sense of calmness, motivation, inspiration, hope. So I owe it to myself to be that, not only for myself, but for my family. And like I said, for the community and for the world.
That's awesome. And you lead by example. And you wear it on your sleeve sometimes when you make decisions and you do things. But I think that transparency is what people need. They don't need the BS right now. They need, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm doing. I don't have the answers, but these are the skill sets I'm developing. And one more question I had for you is dealing with people in this environment. Everyone is remote. Kids are running around. You have schooling going on. You have husband and wives in the same home. Anything you can share with, like, how do families manage dealing with everyone in the house for this period of time? Have you seen any things that's working for your organization, or any suggestions?
Yeah, first and foremost, before I get into some little tips here, I do want to tell you that we do have answers. I will tell you exactly step by step what we are doing, the actions and the measures we have taken from day one. And I do believe every single person interested in saving their small business or any business, follow Grant Cardone is doing a webinar this Friday at 3 p.m. The site is grantcardone.com/training. If you click on it right now, I think it's an old date, but we are changing that right now remotely. But everything that we are going to discuss in this thing also includes how to get a job, how to work remotely as a company, the strategies that we implement. For example, every Monday, every weekday at 9:05, that's when we have our meeting. So we do a Zoom call. We have 102 staff that work at Cardone Enterprises on a Zoom. What's talked about at the meeting, no bad information ever, only the statistics. So we go through how to run a remote team, He's also going to be talking about, for instance, the small businesses, how to get money, what loans do you qualify for, how much do you qualify for, how to get the debts forgiven. So Grant is going through exactly step by step where you can apply for your PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, or if you need to know about the SBA. Anyway, so he's going over all of that for people, how to get a job, what to do if you've lost your job. I can answer some of that, but of course, the main in detail, which I will be on and watching myself because it puts me more at control at knowing what to do and how to be on the same page and operate as a partner and as a couple. Grant just got back into the house, going back to your question. He just got back last night. I was working at the bar in my great room, and I have my computer and my stand and my light and my phone and my to-do list, and Grant doesn't like clutter, and now it's on the bar, and that was one of his biggest pet peeves. And so I've been used to that for 2 weeks. It's worked really well. I knew my lighting. I had everything worked out. I never turn the TV on. He turns the TV on. It's got the financial stocks and everything, and he's gathering data. So I have to work with that now. I had him at the dining room table. He's not a guy that likes to stay in so much. So fortunately, and again, we have set ourselves up to be in a position that we are better equipped for this today than in 2008. But we have an office that's 1 mile away that we now have approval from the city to have 8 people there because we are deemed an essential business for that aspect. So I was able to send him to the office today to be able to shoot his content and to do his, so that's working for us, but I do have to make adjustments. Now I'm at the office in my bedroom. I had to do things. I have kids. They have online programs they have to do. Sometimes I'm able to have a nanny come in so I can do things like this. She's not here today. I have to make allowances and understand that they're going to come in when I'm writing my book. I'm writing a men's book right now for men that want a 10X relationship.
This is a good meds. I'm telling you.
That book is incredible, but this and all, I think absolutely, I wrote that book for men and for women. The book I'm writing right now is specifically for men and how to get their partner on the same page or find their partner or keep and hold and know really what is a 10X relationship and how you can reach heightened success together. So, I'm writing on that book. Sometimes I don't want to be interrupted, but guess what? I have kids in the house that are also feeling the maybe stress of not being able to go and have energy. And I have to understand that. And I have to be willing to realize that I possess power, the ability or capacity to influence the behavior of others. So I can put my computer work on hold, make my children smile, give them the attention they need, get them refocused in another direction or on another project so I can come back to my work plan. And I just have to know that right now, being in a house under duress, like the rest of the globe, that I have to be willing to change. I cannot have fixed ideas of the way things are supposed to be. I have to be mercurial. Whoa, that's Grant calling me right now. I have to be mercurial right now and be willing to change with the situations in order for our family to be able to thrive. So I can't, I have to be more kind. I have to be more willing to accept that things are just going to be more random motion right now and make it all work. And one of the tips I've done for our family is I've given the kids projects and we have family meetings, and every night at a certain time we read our to-do lists and we vote. You can't vote on yourself. You vote on which member of the family did a better job of completing their to-do list, and they earned ice cream time the next day. We also have uninterrupted entertainment hour. So I'm going by the fly of my seat trying to figure out how to get all the members of my family operating as a team and as a unit with a purpose, and not just using this time as, all of us just wasting away doing nothing.
That is a perfect ending, because that was my last question. and about how do you manage kids. Like my kids talk about the virus, not going to the movies, not playing with their friends. And I think you summed it up. And what I really loved about this interview, Elena, thank you again for this time, is that we're able to see you in action. It's one thing to think, oh, you guys got it covered. Like there's no problem. You got your kids, and it's good for us to hear, hey, we have family time. We have this, we have this. We're all dealing with struggles and we're flexible. And so that is what I wanted to get out of this interview. And that's what people need to see, is that you guys are adjusting, but you're not just sitting back. And I'll say one last thing. The Friday session is essential for everybody, but the mentorship program that you guys are doing, oh my gosh, like I've been following Grant for a while. The things we're learning on the mentorship is totally different. It's not just like reading a book. I mean, so I would say anybody that's alone and not sure what to do, you are giving great tips and advice, and that's really helpful.
Thank you. And yeah, if you want to sign up for the mentorship program, I'm on every single mentorship call as well. That's grantcardone.com/mentor. Now is the time to invest time and energy in yourself, because at some point you will have to get to the acceptance of this, that there's going to be some drastic changes in the world, at least for quite some time. And the more you have knowledge of, the more you can take responsibility for, the more control you can have in your life for the conditions that are around you, rather than being a fact of what's going on and just kind of getting bumped around like in a ping pong machine. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you so much for that.
Yes. I've exhausted my time. You are super busy. I can't tell you how grateful we are that as busy as you are. And I'll tell you one last thing. The beginning of your book, you talk about the definition of an empire. I remember when Laura got this book, I'm like, I don't want to build an empire. I'm not a king. I'm not like have a castle. But you say it's about your responsibilities are to people become more important than yourself. And so that's what you guys do. You demonstrate that all the time, and we thank you for that.
Thank you for that acknowledgement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Elena. Be safe. Tell your family we said hello. My daughter, my kids love your kids when they get on stage. So thank you so much. That's really, really inspiring for them to speak in public.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again. Be safe.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.